Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar, and it's International TEFL Day, so happy International TEFL Day. I hope you've been at the special event and enjoying it. My name's Lisa and I'm from South Africa, a small town called Robertson. I teach English to students from all over the world and at all different levels. Today's class is about getting special material for advanced students. So that's what we'll be talking about. It's half an hour of slides and talking, and then another half an hour afterwards of questions and answers. So keep all your questions for the end and I will answer as many as possible. All right, great. We will jump off. That's such a funny saying. All right, so creating content for advanced learners. That is what we're talking about today. And let's go to the next slide. Okay, before we even start, how these slides, there's an echo. Oh dear, I even turned my fan off. I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay, hopefully it will calm down. Nice to see everyone. Hi. Okay, so I was going to, just before we start, explain that how the slides are going to work. We're going to focus on when we have a lesson for students, we focus often on, I'm looking at my book, reading, writing, and speaking, firstly, and then vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation. So those are 6 of the things that we often look at. So in this webinar, we will be looking at ideas for material for those 6 different aspects of our lessons. And then we will go through ways that you can put your lesson together. So your PPP procedure lesson, we will look at what you could do in the warmer, what you could do in presentation, in the controlled practice, and in the plenary. So that's how this set of slides will play out. So we will go through each section and then look how you could add it to your class. So, advanced learners. Your students they speak English very well. So they've come a long way and have dedicated so much time to use English and function in a second language. And they have a large capacity to understand. So our role is to keep challenging them to learn and discover new aspects of English. So instead of just using textbooks and the kind of thing that we usually use, we need to look a little further afield. Advanced learners are aiming for range, precision, and a higher level of complexity in the language. So the materials can include idioms, expressions, chunks of language with more complicated grammar. Also, I thought of another thing to add. Obviously, before you decide on the extra authentic material, have a look at the age of a learner, because often they might be very young and very advanced. And we will look further into it. Interests and the length of the material you need. It's not actually mentioned in all of these slides, but those are 3 things to keep in mind. The age, how much material you need. Okay, so what do our learners need? Okay, we are on slide 3. To use English independently and fluently. So authentic materials analyze real-world English. So it's not just from the textbook. So if a student needs to do a presentation, for instance, in English at work, they can bring it and you can work on that. So it's always good to work on actual material that the students are going to need. Learn about your students' profession and interests or what they're doing at school by asking questions. They'll be motivated to talk about it as it relates directly to their needs. And advanced students usually have a large range of vocabulary, but don't get to use all of the words they have. So vary your context so your students can use more range when they are speaking. And also exposure to different accents, speaking patterns, and regional language variations. So some students only ever hear broken English or only hear American on movies. So it's always good to hear different English from different places. So if you get extra material to offer valuable information such as colloquialisms, cultural references, and students can be exposed to different speaking patterns and accents as they learn more and more. All right. More variety. Then we can use. So obviously texts, when we're talking about material you use, you're thinking of text and things, but obviously videos and audio are also great things to add to your class. So video could be actual movies or TV series or iPods, podcasts. That's what I'm trying to think. My head is going blank. Okay, so that they get more variety in their language. Okay, so when you are including a video or an audio, something to listen to, when you start off in your warmer, ask questions that encourage critical thinking and analysis of the topic. So you know what it's about. So before you even start to introduce it, get the students thinking about it and talking about it. To facilitate controlled, okay, we go on. So that's the warmer. Then activities. So obviously controlled practice activities are the kind of worksheets that one uses. So things like fill in the blanks or gap fill or unjumble. So from something they've watched or listened to, they can then look at a worksheet and include this authentic material and work on that. There's so much to say on this. Okay. So for fluency practice, have the students record their own podcast related to a video and then listen to it, listen back, and then speak to each other. So the students can speak to each other in the plenary, summarize classmates' recordings and arguments and things that they have spoken about. So that was videos and audio that you can add in a class so that you can get from anywhere. And to just like some people are interested, when it was the Olympics, for instance, it was so great to add that as a topic. If your student is interested in music, then you can obviously look for material that's all about music. So that's the kind of thing you can do so that you tailor make okay, that's if you one-to-one. If it's a whole class, it's harder, but it's kind of thing to keep in mind. Great. Reading. So reading material. This is perhaps the most obvious one. So to add new reading materials that include nuanced language. So not just textbook kind of thing, more complex grammar and more interesting vocabulary. So you can add books and poems, even if they're interested, or magazine articles, newspaper articles, anything that's written, you can add reviews of things, recipes. The world is out there and things are all written and you can find. Okay, great. And I've got extra notes here. That's what I'm clicking on. Okay, we are on slide 6. So what else have we got? So that they can focus on more detailed things, on detailed precision in their understanding and response to the material. Now we're going to look at reading and how you actually include it in the lesson. So in the warmer, you would, if you had, I don't know, maybe a book, a new book, something that's like an excerpt from a book, a thriller or something interesting that you sort of get the gist going. Ask what kind of books they read. Pre-teach key language that they'll be looking for. Activities, so comprehension, as we all did in school, how much they understand the comprehension questions, analysis, share their thoughts, debate, talk about it, check understanding. This is a weird thing. Follow an activity, you can use new language. All right. So still reading. Then we have, as I said, we're going to look at all of those things. So we've had audiovisual, reading, now we have writing. So when students first start writing, it's quite basic, but as they are more advanced, they won't just be checking for, it won't just be from fixing grammar, it will be to actually develop writing skills. Do they have to write emails? Do they have to write social media? So lots of people will be writing different things, and these are going to be challenging things, so you can include bits of writing for them to work on for their own writing. The goal is to create clear and concise writing, fluency, and so they can end up making cohesive sense. So tasks could include free writing, so something more creative, opinion essays, storytelling, error correction, paraphrasing, summarizing. Very, very good skills to have, paraphrasing and summarizing. Throughout life, in everything, we need to do such things. So in the warmer, again, as I said, we look at how you would include it in each lesson. So in the warmer, you would then, or could, you could show students interesting or powerful image about the topic of the lesson. Students can then brainstorm ideas and look at the language. Activities, you could have unfinished sentences, essays, paragraphs, writing in teams, joint writing. And then obviously the freer practice, students can practice freely by creating their own opinion-based or descriptive paragraphs. So freer, usually when we say freer practice, we're talking about speaking, but obviously it's the same when it comes to writing, that they can write about anything and maybe look to include those different aspects of grammar. And with a plenary, reflect on writing strategies and share the writing with the students can share with each other. Or if it's one-to-one, they can share with you. It could even be homework. All right, speaking is the next one. So what we often, if you have one-to-one, speaking is one of the most important parts. But you can introduce more complex topics when you introduce speaking activities. Okay, focus on activities that will challenge the students to use new structures and words and develop critical thinking skills. So that you can include speaking tasks, can be debates, discussions, presentations, question and answer tasks with spontaneous and natural responses. So depending on what, often as well, you will combine speaking tasks with grammar or a speaking task with, so it's a combination. These slides are just giving them one by one. So it will be speaking about new grammar or speaking about new vocabulary. So they overlap, obviously. Okay, slide 11, carry on with speaking. So in the warmer, you could present an interesting statement for students to build their own arguments on. So before you introduce your interesting material, you sort of give clues. Activities, prompts, interviews, express opinions in groups or role-playing. So the usual things that you would put into a lesson in your PPP procedure. Okay, plenary share with everyone, as I say, as usual. So that's just how you, so you could involve role plays, wrap up the lesson. So as I say, it's not repetitive, but we are going through each step by step. Now we have, I said we do speaking and writing. Now we've got vocabulary. So this is another great thing. New words presented in real world scenarios. So not just in a textbook again. So now we're going to learn words of something. These are words from actual newspapers or writing or things that we are going to actually read in our lives. Okay, we are at number 10. I'm showing examples of new words in real world scenarios. Students can grasp meaning and remember them more effectively. So if you're reading about something real and interesting, then you're going to remember it. You're more likely to remember it than it's just another word. Encourage students to find the meaning of a term from its context so they can also become independent users of the language. They can learn to rely on their own intelligence and what they know. Okay, tasks should have students to find, synonyms. Our synonyms are great. English is full of synonyms and even antonyms. So if you can look at different ways of saying things, it's a great thing. And if you were to, for instance, include a novel. You're going to be faced with so much rich language, not just what you would find in a textbook. Compare and contrast words that have similar meanings. For example, here's just an example: anxious and nervous. So synonyms. I had a student once and said, can you use different words for the same thing? I said, the more the merrier. You can always extend your vocabulary in every single, always. Speaking, writing, comprehension, always. Okay. So vocabulary. Students consider the topic to activate prior knowledge. So they think of, what did we know before? So if we got a new topic, they might look and go, what did we already know? Okay, we're on slide 13 here. Okay, vocabulary. Students can think about the topic of the lesson, and you could show them a short video or image to get them chatting about their own vocabulary related to the theme. For presenting new vocabulary items, students, you could give them a short paragraph with words in context. They can discuss the meanings. For accuracy-based practice, you could provide learners with a set of vocabulary and get them to use them in sentences. That's a great way. So you give them a list of 5 words and say, use these in sentences. It's an obvious one. But if you're working with authentic material, you can do the same kind of exercise. Great. Grammar. We mentioned it before. So now we focus on grammar. Complex grammar in different contexts. Again, if you have, for instance, business students, there will be very specific grammar that you will need to use. And so therefore, specific material will have the specific grammar that those students will need to use. Okay. And work on a range of grammar that students use. Often school students need to use sort of everything, but adults will frequently need something that is more in context of the job or work that they do. Okay, and the way you could add it to your... Someone say, guys, slow down. All right, I'm looking at my time and the amount of slides to do, but yes, I will slow down. Sorry, okay. I'm thinking there's so much to say, but I will slow down. Okay. So, all right. I didn't mean to add those yet. Okay, let me speak a little slower. So we're now talking about grammar. So if you have a grammar lesson now, you start in a warmer. You can use visuals or a quote to present or elicit the context. So that's a good way to start with something that's interesting before you actually add all your material. In the presentation, you can elicit the target language, as you always elicit, and get the students to speak to you before you explain everything. For controlled practice, you can create detailed sentences, error correction, oral presentations, so students can analyze where they are right, where they're wrong, spot errors. And in the plenary, have students think about scenarios in their daily life where they would use such grammar. Have students come up with concept checking questions themselves so that they could check where they're going and having a look. All right. So that's grammar. We've had grammar, vocabulary. There is so much in this. But when we get into questions and answers in 11 minutes, you see it is very quick. Then I'll answer specific questions. Okay, and now we go to pronunciation, which is always an interesting part of the speaking aspect of speaking part. I see lots of questions. I'm going to answer all of the questions in 10 minutes time. And I'll go through that whole list and look at them individually. All right, so let's look at pronunciation. Improve subtle features of pronunciation. Often we look at the obvious thing, but for advanced students, it will be small things that maybe they're putting the emphasis or the stress on a different word. Expand on intonation, stress, rhythm, and connected speech. And then there are lots of fun things for pronunciation. The next slide. I love this. Okay, tongue twisters. The most fun, I think, even for adults, but certainly for children, tongue twisters. She sells seashells on the seashore. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. They're always such fun to use, especially if you are looking at a specific pronunciation thing or a specific student that maybe battles with a sound. So that's fun. Sentences on board. And also, it's certainly something that is fun. Intonation, dialogues with marked patterns or practice with different assigned feelings. So English is not, as much as other languages are, completely based on intonation. The meaning doesn't change completely where you put the stress in a sentence, but it does make a difference. I remembered something today that I've been meaning to tell a student, and I eventually asked my sister because it's something we used to do when we were kids. It's very silly, but while we are talking about intonation, we used to say, why? We used to say, need I say more? Then we go, need I say more? Need I say more? Need I say more? Need I say more? So it's very silly, but it actually makes a big difference. Those 4 sentences mean slightly different things. And that's the kind of thing that you could work on. Obviously not with that silly sentence, but by underlining different words in one sentence, you can get the students to look and see that the meaning changes slightly. I'm so relieved I've found that silly thing. Okay. Pronunciation, linking words. Student link words in sentences and questions. So lots of things like if it, and when you don't say if it rains, you go if it. So that kind of thing. And different accents will have, in American, they often leave out a bunch of consonants. So there are so many different accents that you need to look at in terms of pronunciation drilling, and students can think about the most challenging aspects because some things are easy and some things not as easy for the specific students. So a whole class will have different things. Another thing with pronunciation that's quite fun is if you get them to actually look at what their tongue is doing and their lips, like and when we were kids, we had speech lessons and had to work with the tongue. So you can also have a look at that as well. This is for fine tuning, as I say, for more advanced students. All right. Conclusion. You see, we are going to get through the slides and have plenty of time for questions. Advanced learners are aiming for variety, precision, and complexity. So they don't just want the basics. They want now to have interesting language. They need to use English independently. So authentic materials are essential. And topics and skills should be relevant to their needs. Developing fluency is important. Okay. I think I've now probably gone through them a teensy bit too quickly, but I think it's fine because now we have plenty time to look at things. So now we will actually go to Q&A. That was very intense, but we will go through, have a look at all of those aspects again in the question and answer because I was nervous I wouldn't get through it all because it was so wordy, but we have got through it all. So now we can go into Q&A with an extra 5 minutes. All right. So hi, everyone. I see there are people from all over, which is great. There was an echo. I'm pleased that the echo is gone. Durban, hi, another South African. From a cold and windy Devon in southwest England. Oh, finally, summer has arrived in this country. It took a while. Actually, it's not even supposed to be summer, but it is warm now. Greeting from London. I'm sorry, Pip, that I was so quick, but I will speak slower now because I'll be speaking from my own head, which is slower. Okay. Activate means body. Let's have a look at this question. It was very interesting. Activities. Yes. Okay. Activities would be in the controlled practice and then in the freer practice. So the warmer is the warm up, and then in the body of the PPP is the first is presentation. So that is mainly what the teacher does when you present and explain the work. And then we go into controlled practice, which is where you use what you've just learned in a controlled, safe way that it's, I wouldn't say easier, but with gap fills or unjumble or finish the sentence or that kind of activity that you don't have to, it's not complete freedom. You are working within a format. And then the freer practice or the production stage, which is when you're actually speaking freely. So yes, that is then in the body. So the warmer, then the body is are the 3 Ps: presentation, practice, and production. And then the plenary is the wrap up and the end. And the last slide, I will go back to the last slide. Thank you. Let me go back to the last slide. Oh, definitely. Is it this one? I'll go there as well. Conclusion. The last slide. Is that the one? And if I go back one. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Lou. Enthusiasm, positive energy. I do try. Thank you. I enjoy this and I enjoy working with people. So I'm always perhaps a little over enthusiastic. So thank you, Happy Dog, as well. Thank you. So are there any other questions now? Okay, thank you. That's great. So what other questions can we use? Can we ask? Because we still have heaps of time. So Pip, since I was too quick, do you have any questions when I was rushing through everything? Okay, I'm going to go through, now I'll just chat a little. So as I said, when you are finding first slide, I'll go to the first slide. I'll go right to the first slide. You can go through all of them and you can take notes with pleasure. Okay, there's the very first one. First slide, thank you. First slide. Okay. When you are looking for stuff, I find being older, I have so much material that it's actually, I'm going to get this as well in a moment. That's like, I have hard copies of things. I have actual books and actual movies. And it's another whole thing to actually have to go online and find stuff. All right, here is an excellent question. How do you teach learners to write clearly and concisely without their voice or the personality in their writing? I think it's a pleasure, Lawrence. Thank you for the slides. Okay. It will obviously depend on what the writing task is. So if it's, I remember at school, you'd have to write things like a formal letter. Nowadays, I have to write a formal email or a review and that kind of thing. And so there are a bunch of rules that you have to follow. And often their voice is a little bit sort of, it does get a little quashed. And I think you have to balance it, that there are different kinds of writing, because there are the more creative kinds where the voice and personality can come out again. So even in maybe an argumentative essay, a little bit more of the personality can come through. But if you are writing the kind of thing that, it depends as well if we now have, if it's children or adults. Adults often, the personality gets lost completely in writing because it's emails. So that's the kind of writing that one does. And if it's kids, I think you have to balance between the creative part and the grammar and the vocabulary, because it will come out. I have students who are so enthusiastic, and even when they just read through something quite arbitrary, I'm thinking of the one I saw today, she will do it in different voices. So it really will depend on the student and the exercise as well. Further explanation on the first slide. Okay, so this is the first slide. Let's have a look at it again, because I did rush through. I'm very sorry. Okay. All right, first, so range, precision, and a high level of complexity. So it's if you are teaching beginners, you are teaching just the most basic things. You are teaching basic grammar, basic vocabulary, and you are sort of tailor you if you use material like that is in a textbook, for instance, that will be perfectly fine because they are early, they're very early in their learning journey. But as soon as you now have, they are C2 kind of students and their language is very good, you need to challenge them. So you need to add material that has a lot more idioms. So things like, I had a student the other day who said, in a nutshell, like that kind of thing. In a nutshell, she's young and I'm so impressed. So that kind of thing, or expressions, things like it's raining cats and dogs, and chunks of grammar where you have phrases and it's not just the basic things. So more intricate grammar where you are using past perfect and not just active, but you're using passive. So like past perfect with passive. So that kind of stuff that beginners don't necessarily need. All right. I hope that has helped on the first slide. All right. Wondering what themes our assignments have to be on, or is it our choice or set for us? Okay, very good question, actually. So each assignment, there's certain things that will be more, I'm at a loss for words, that would be better for some assignments than others. So for instance, one of the assignments is for the interrupted action. So past continuous and the interrupted action. So you have to think about what kind of things get interrupted and then think, I've read amazing ones. So maybe you think things break and fall. So I've read some students have had the theme for their assignment was things going wrong. So that for an interruption is great. So like something always breaks or something always falls. So that kind of thing would be a good theme for that. Then the L5B one, which is the first conditional, which is another assignment, which is about first conditional, which is about probable and likely events. So heads up, the lotto is a terrible theme for that because it's not likely or probable. So that's not a good one. Something likely or probable, a lot of students use weather and weekend plans as a theme for their assignment because it's not that thrilling, but it works. So you can find something that fits in with the correct grammar and that students would find interesting. So have a look. I'm going to move back to the other slide at the end and put it in the correct order. Okay. So look at who your class is made up of because the assignments are very clear as to who your students are. Then you also get to pick, some of them you get to pick that these are students who live in France and they speak French, or these are students who live in India. So think about who your students are and think of something that they would find fun. And then look at the TTA notes because they really do help and can help. All right, very nice. So in terms of other, I'm going to hide that. We don't have any questions at the moment. So just extra things. So there are essays that you can look at. And because I did jump through. have to apologize that I rushed. So series, so looking for great stuff to add to lessons. Movies, if your students love movies, or series, sometimes you can look at the humor and they need to find and explain it in a certain movie. And then there are podcasts, which will have great things about different, thank you, Shaf, thank you, that will maybe speak about something topical. So great topics for conversation will be AI, pollution, the future of the planet, wars, all of that kind of thing, which are, there's the entertaining side of teaching, and then there's the more serious side. And there is so much information out there, news articles, news on the television, news online. So you can look for serious things and also then fun things. And then you could look for books, poems, especially for children, are such great fun. Poems for adults are serious, but you will find interesting language. So those are also useful. And if you look online, you can find stuff. There is so much stuff to find. I was told that you might need to know if you Google looking for content and authentic content, there's so much. There's not really one place to look. So I again would go back to who your students are. What are they interested in? How old are they? How old they are? How old they are. So as I said right at the beginning, the course content, their interests. So if it's a one-to-one and your student has a specific job or a specific interest, then you can look very specifically for things that interest that student. I have lots of students who like Harry Potter, and then you can find lots of Harry Potter things. Or, I mean, Roblox, almost every child would be interested in that. So you can find things that people are interested in and then show them little kids. Okay, then they're not advanced. So, but there are small kids who might be advanced. So it might be cartoons that you are working with and movies, that lots of great. So it really depends. So you might have a very advanced young student, or older. So it isn't necessarily that the advanced ones will be your business students. They might be, but they might not be. All right. I was starting to chatter on. Did I leave anything else out? So also look for, even if you Google looking for material, it shows you TTA, because they have so much material within their own website. There is so much material that you can use. So that's one of the greatest. Preply also have a lot of material that you can use. There's a place called TWE, which was a funny name. TWE. I've never heard of them before. TWE. I think you have to pay them after a while, but they had some fun stuff. Then there was Text Inspector. Let me put up Text Inspector. That was also, what is that? Where am I? What am I writing on? What happened? I'm typing on something and something disappeared. No, what happened there? No, there, chat. I clicked on brand, comments. There we go. Sorry, I clicked on something completely incorrect. We're back. All right, it's called Text Inspector. Text Inspector. So it will tell you what kind of stuff you can use as well. It was quite an interesting site. I just looked briefly at it, but it was interesting. All right. Does anyone else have any extra? I hope that everyone has been going to the extra lectures and talks today and enjoying them. I was actually teaching, so I didn't have a chance to go and see them all, but it only ends at, I think it's 8 o'clock GMT. I could be wrong, but I think that's the time. All right. Are there any other questions? So every time we looked at how you would add them, obviously that is how you plan your lesson. So you've got your information. So just as if you were using a textbook, you would go through your lesson plan and think, what am I going to do in the warmer? What am I going to do in the presentation stage? So you use your new authentic material in exactly the same way as you would use a text from a textbook. So it goes through the exact same process. Oh, let's have a sip of water. All right, are there more questions? Also, of course, role plays are good things. So you can get, once you've gone through maybe you've done a bit about a book or a movie, and then you can get the students to work in teams or pairs, groups or pairs, and make up their own and extend their language by going into role plays and talking about maybe like the next scene. What could the next scene of this movie or this television program or series, what could the next scene be? So that could be a great way to advance and extend. Drilling pronunciation. Okay, let's go with that. Or any other, literally going over and over it till it's learned. Yes, drilling actually is that. It's like as if it's like an army term. So yes. So little kids often, there's another, so if you go, it's often used more with beginners, but it could be used with advanced students as well. But yes, you would be drilling pronunciation. So maybe like laboratory, 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 laboratory. That's what I do often. So you may break it down into different syllables, and then sort of speed it up again. And even whole phrases you could do like that as well, so that you can break it down slowly so that you know what each word is, and then speed it up a little so that you say it more like an English speaking person, first language speaking person would say. So yes, that is exactly what it is. Drilling pronunciations or other aspects. And it's just so that it sticks in your head. Because if you said it 15 times, it doesn't make much sense anymore, but you will remember it. So yes, absolutely. Nice. Which contents can assist learners answer the assignments? I'm not 100% sure what this, okay, learners. So these are your students. It would be what the assignment was about. Yeah, if the assignment is about, and go back to a grammar point. If they're doing conditionals with if, then try and find something that's got a lot of if this happens, then that happens. If this happens, then that happens. So I would look for things that contain a lot of, you could actually probably Google it. You like songs or so look at what the topic is for the assignment, and then look for things that would be part of that. That's what I would say. If I have answered that question correctly. Contents. So if you give them extra stuff to work on for their assignment. So it would depend what their assignment was about. I hope that has answered, because I'm not 100% sure what you mean. Or if you're talking about TEFL students. No. Okay. And your assignments. The amazing thing is Google nowadays, that you can actually look for anything you are thinking about, and think, what could that be? You just search for it and you'll find it. In the olden days, and you'd have to go to a library and search, and you may or may not find what you're looking for. Nowadays, you can literally find anything. And if you can't, ask someone younger. Like I asked my daughter. Help me find it, because they can find anything, any movie, any book, anything. All right, I hope that is answered. If not, then you can ask again in a different way. When this webinar is finished, I will put up a link to a survey that please answer afterwards, because then those surveys help for the future. For, you can say if you enjoyed this webinar, what else you would be interested in having webinars about in the future, what you would like help with particularly, but that will come in a few minutes. We still have some minutes left. I'm just preempting what you will need to say. What you not need to say, what you can do at the end of the assignment with our survey. But as I say, we still have some time left. But I leave anything else. I've got some things written down in a notebook, some things on another file there. I think I went through everything. I did just probably. Okay, I think I went through that as well. All right, great. So also websites for further reading, absolutely. So I did mention those two, TWE and Text Inspector. So that both of those were, and as I said earlier, the TTA one, look where you are already studying, because they have so much information. Preply is also good. There's, if you look up finding extra information, then that's also good. But how do we set up our templates for assignments? Okay, so as I said, this is not really about assignments, but since I'm here, the templates are there for your assignments. At the very beginning of your assignment, you're given a whole page. It's a long page with instructions, a lot of instructions, and it tells you to do step by step by step. It says, it tells you what the assignment is. It gives you a model assignment that is not on the same topic of the assignment that you are writing. It's just there to show you how, but it's a different topic. So don't get confused by that. And then there are templates that you can download, and then they are, I think they're in Word, and then you just fill them in. So you download the templates and use the templates, keep them as they are. So you don't need to do anything. You fill them in. You literally just fill them in, because it's all there for you with the font and the headings and the, okay. Post webinar survey several times. It takes me to a home page where I have to register. Oh my goodness. Okay. That is annoying. Thanks, Chef. Thank you. It's so appreciate. Thank you for coming and asking questions, because we wouldn't be able to do the webinars on our own. Then it's just me talking to myself. So we need people to help and get on to and ask questions. Otherwise, we are talking to ourselves. Sure. That is annoying. I will put up the link. I've written it up. I put it up there. And then there's a little that thing that you can, I've just forgotten what it's called. The QR code. There's a QR code as well. People have left comments on it before, because I've been told about them. Actually, they were good. So that is annoying. But I will tell everyone about that and make a note of it and speak to them. I will make a note right now, so that takes you to a different place. That is the kind of thing that's very, so the Survey Monkey takes you to a different location. Okay, that can be so annoying. So I'm very sorry about that. I will put it up as normal, and as I said, I've got the address there that I hope I wrote it out by hand, so I hope I have written it correctly. But if you go there and hopefully it takes you there, and maybe the QR code will take you. When we finish chatting in a few minutes' time, then I'll leave it up for a little while so that you can try with the QR code. And then if there are things, obviously we do webinars every week, and a lot of them are about the specific assignments, which is very helpful so that you know exactly what you need to do. And if you miss one, if you go to the TTA YouTube page, there are lots of versions of all of it. So there are different people who've done the different webinars on. And it asks you what type of survey you'd like to create. Oh no, that's so annoying. I will tell them, Happy Dog English, that happens. That is, in fact, I've even had that before. That is annoying. So hopefully if you can just sort of say no and go somewhere else. But I will let them know. I will tell them. I'll speak to the people who are in charge and let them know that happens, because that is very annoying. Because you don't want to have to make your own survey. What on earth would that be about? That can be very, very annoying. All right. So as I was saying, every week there are different webinars about different topics, and there are new topics. So today is actually a new topic that hasn't been done before. So it is the first time we're doing this one about advanced students and creating content for them. So I hope that it has been slightly helpful, that you have some more ideas when you are creating your own lessons, that have other people found that? Oh, I'm missing something. I'm not sure. If other people would like to answer that, they are welcome. I haven't heard of it before, but I will definitely put it out there and ask. And I'll get that one back again, to that one again, just so it's there, I don't forget. Okay, so obviously finding the authentic material is one aspect of the advanced learners, and then working with it and putting it into a class and going through each stage and making sure that you get the most out of each piece of material that you use. So to advance and extend, I want to say that. So that they go forward and find more, and that they extend their knowledge. All right, we have almost come to the end. Although I did come on a couple minutes earlier. So if anyone else is still there, they could answer Happy Dog's question if they have found that the survey takes them to asking if you will do your own survey. And I will find out. I will make a note of it and get to them tomorrow. I think I won't today, because I think everyone is very busy with all of the festivities of International TEFL Day, which is the first time that TTA has done this special event. So it's very exciting that it's such an opportunity. Thank you, Happy Dog English. Thank you. Okay, it is. I also find, and it's another way. Often, advanced students are taking an IELTS test, and so either IELTS questions, which you can Google and find anywhere, are great. Another great way of working with advanced students. The IELTS speaking test, writing. Oh my word, I have to do so much. I usually do speaking tests with IELTS students, but those are great questions because they are asked for varying degrees. So the IELTS questions are also a great source, and you can Google those as well. Great source of information and material for advanced students. So thank you very much. and combined with real information. Can I tell you a bit more about what goes on? Today was the first one ever, International TEFL Day. So I went and looked around. There were groups you could join if you were like from a certain country, or if you taught in China, or if you lived in China and taught. So there were groups that you could join for discussions. Then there were tables, so you could go to a Preply table, and there are people with jobs, and there are people with information, and you can ask more questions. And then there were more podcasts and webinars as well, from people from TTA and people from a variety of different TEFL organizations and schools and places. So it really is like a gathering of all English speaking, teaching people, TEFL and TESOL teachers from around the world. So I hope that, and as I said, it's still going on for another hour or two, I think. And if you are a TTA student, then you can join, and there's a link, and it's free. So you can join with a link from your phone or from the computer. All right. I think that we went through everything. I will put up the Survey Monkey again for anyone who is here, that will fill it in. Please take another minute at the end. There are only another couple of minutes left of this. And in fact, I'll put it up right now and go back to this one. So it's nice and big, and I'm nice and small again. So that's where it is there, or as I say, on the screen there. If I can go copy and paste. Does it do that? All right. So it's there. Thank you so much, and good luck with all your assignments, all your teaching, and I hope the date for International TEFL Day is today. It's now. It's right this very minute, the date. QR code works. Yay. Okay, so the QR code works. So leave information. I hope that you learned something. I do ramble. I ramble less when I'm teaching students, because I know a bit more what I'm saying. Today was the first time for this webinar, and sorry for rambling, but it was great. It was great to meet all of you, and best of luck, and thank you. Is it online? It is online. It is online right now. Right now, if you go to TTA, I'm sure they've sent you invitations, and if you click on the invitation, the TEFL Day, yes, how can I join? Go to, I'm sure TEFL, if you go to the main TTA page today, I'm sure there will be a link. I'm sure there will be a link. It will be one of the things. So, and if you Google International TEFL Day today and go and click, you'll find it. It will take you there, because it is now. I hope you go and enjoy and find and learn extra things and make contacts. I said you can join and network and chat and learn. So there's lots of stuff to do, and listen, and it will be great. I'm sure if you go to TTA right now to the main page, there will be links. I really do believe that. I'm sure. I don't have it on me. It's on my phone, and it's not right here. So I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you again. Please do the Survey Monkey. Since the QR code works, then it's great. Thank you, and goodbye.